Hi everyone and welcome to Find Mater Activities with Kim. I'm Kim from GriffinOT. Today I'm going to be starting you off with some French knitting and I'm looking forward to doing that with you this week. We can make necklaces and bracelets, and if you keep going you can also make a doily. What you will need is this is called a loom. I know it looks like a toilet roll with some wooden sticks stuck on it, but we're going to be needing this through the week to do our French knitting. So if you haven't made one of these yet, you'll need to get this ready before you can join in with the Find Mater activities today. And as always, we'll stand up and do our warm up first. Today we're going to keep going with our 8s. And what we've practiced is we've practiced just doing the hand, and then some people have been adding in watching their hand as it goes. What we're going to try and do today, if you're still just practicing the hand, I want you to try and follow it with your eyes, okay? Now, if you've been following it with your eyes, I want to see if you can keep your head still, because sometimes when you follow it with your eyes, your head moves, and that's okay because we've just been practicing getting the idea. But what we're going to do today is try and keep our head still as well and just move our eyes. So head stays steady and our eyes are moving and our hand is doing the 8. This is really tricky. It's totally okay if you can't do it and if you're just doing an 8, or if you're doing your head's moving as well, that's okay. But if you're okay with those things, I want to see if you can try and just make your eyes move as your hand's going around in the 8. And your head's steady, your body's steady, and your hand is moving and your eyes are following your hand. So do 10 with your right hand and then swap over, and I want you to do 10 with your left hand. You're going to try and just move your eyes and your hand. Okay, you might be a bit slower than me and that is completely okay. I'm going to do 3 more. Okay, so I want you to do 10 on each hand. If you haven't finished, that's okay, just keep going, and then when you're ready you can move on to the next activity. What I'd suggest is you get a bit of your wool off the ball, because otherwise it moves around and it's a bit annoying. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the end and you're going to pop it down the toilet roll till it comes out the other end, and you can hold on to the other end. Now, to cast, the shape we need to do for the whole week whilst we're doing this is it's going to come on, it's going to come around the back, and then it's going to come across to the second one, and it's going to come around, then it's going to come across to the third one, then it's going to come around, then it's going to come across to the fourth one, then it's going to come around. So that's your first cast on, and you should have your tail, and you need to just hold on to that at the moment to keep things a bit tight. Now, and you should sort of have that square shape in the middle. What we're going to do now is the same pattern. So we're going to come across, around, and then come over to number 2. But what we're going to do is your other hand's going to need to hold that tail, so you've got a free hand. And what you'll have now on that first stick is 2 pieces of wool, and you want to take the bottom one, you want to just loosen the tail a little bit so you've got enough space to lift it up and in. Okay, and just make sure your tail, so there's a bit of tension on the tail. Now we want to go across. Now this does get easier when you're actually knitting, so you don't always need to hold on to the tail. So you want to come across and around, and then to the second one, and then lift the bottom one over. And make sure you keep you always have one on the stick. And you want to come across and around, and then lift the bottom over. And then I'm going to across and around, and hold the tail and lift that over. Okay, so now I've cast it on. Essentially we're on, I'm just going to keep holding the tail for the next round. So I'm going to come across, around, swap, hold the tail, and over, push it down, across and around. If you get confused as to where you're up to, you can see that I'm on this one here, so I need to come to the opposite side of the other one and around, and then over. This does look, it looks a little bit messy at the start, and it's not really until you've done enough so it's starting to come out the bottom that you can really see where you're going to get to with it. But I promise it's worth the persevering. And across and around, and then lift it up, and across and around, and then lift it up. So for tomorrow, I'm hoping everybody's cast on. It's a bit tricky to see at the moment, but I am getting more knitting going down there. And what I want you to do is try and do at least 5 rounds today. Once this is turned off, just sort of keep going. You might need to watch the video again to sort of get the cast on done. And then tomorrow we're going to continue with what we've been doing today. Thanks for joining today. I know that's probably quite tricky to do for some of you, but I just wanted to give a little bit of a harder activity for those that were finding some of the activities quite easy. So please keep going, as we're going to do some more tomorrow, and then I'll leave it with you to keep going through the week, and on Friday we'll cast off. So I hope you've been able to get started, but if not, the adults can help you, and then we can keep going tomorrow.